In today's gospel, Jesus reveals his divinity by turning the water into the wine at that wedding feast. Only God could do that. And that passage, I really like that passage a lot. There's like 2-3 things there that really hit me, and I want to share those with you. The first is, I really like, Jesus is at a wedding feast, just like you and I will go to a wedding feast, just like there'll be a wedding feast today in our church later this afternoon. And then Mary's approach to Jesus when there's an issue, where there's a problem. I love that. What an example. And then the significance of him starting his public life at a wedding. And those 3 things I'll talk about. Now, I love weddings. I mean, they're great celebrations. You're full of hope for the future, a great future for the bride and groom. You're full of joy because you're seeing friends and relatives, many who you hadn't seen for a long time. And then there's the excitement of just being at a party. And I can imagine Jesus having the same type of emotions there, same type of feelings as he's at a wedding, you know. He knows the bride and groom, you know. He's talking to his friends and relatives, and he's eating and drinking there, probably even dancing. They have some kind of dance, I'm sure they did back then. And what I love about that is it shows us the humanity of Jesus. As his human side is just like us. I mean, and I just love it. It's so wonderful and calming and neat to see. And then Mary, when there's a problem, she comes to Jesus. She doesn't say, fix the problem. She doesn't gossip about the bridegroom and the bride not being prepared. She just says, they have no wine. And then she patiently waits for Jesus to respond and lets him do his thing, if you will. And he responds abundantly, super abundantly. Some might even say that he was showing off. As you do the calculation, this is like 120 gallons of wine, not just any wine, the best wine there is that he makes at that wedding feast. But the example of Mary, how to approach Jesus, is just phenomenal. It just touches my heart how cool that is. And then the significance of the wedding feast. So what happens at a wedding? There's this covenant relationship between a man and a woman. They agree to be together, and they don't know what the future is going to bring, but they trust that with God's help, they'll be able to marry and have their family and continue on with life and do real well. And so it's this covenant relationship, a family bond that's formed in a wedding. Well, the wedding feast at Cana is, with Jesus' first miracle, his first sign, it's the beginning of his public life. It's an introduction to his ministry. And his ministry is to reestablish the family bond between God and man. And John the Baptist refers to Jesus as the bridegroom. And the bride is the church. And we are the church. And so it's just, wow. It's poetically, I guess, as literature would go, to have a beginning like that. It's so, it foreshadows what Jesus has in mind for all of us, which is great. And so, wrap this up. We're all invited to a wedding feast. It's a feast that'll last forever. And we're all journeying to it. And as we are on our journey, there'll be obstacles, there'll be troubles, there'll be difficulties. And when we run into those things, we should imitate Mary and talk to Jesus. Tell him what's going on. And then stand back, let him do his thing, and watch how he responds with superabundance for us. Amen.